You could get Elijah Moore for a fourth or a fifth. I'd do it. I would obviously do it. He's still on a rookie deal. You can go ahead and see what he does the remainder of this year, and then make a decision if you want to re-sign him to a long-term contract. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Friday. As you see, I am on the road. I am not at my home studio, so just bear with me on that one because there's no cool Eagles gear and stuff happening behind me. But still rocking the Eagles shirt, right, on a Friday. Bye weeks are kind of boring, aren't they? I mean, overall, not a lot has happened with the Philadelphia Eagles, but as we get closer and closer to week 7, meaning closer and closer to week 8 when the Eagles are actually back, there are some really interesting stuff going on in terms of trades because the NFL trade deadline is next week, and Philadelphia, according to some reports that you hear out there, might actually be interested in making some moves. And so we're going to jump into our very first story of the day here on the Thomas Mott Show, and that is this whole Elijah Moore trade stuff. Now, Elijah Moore has requested a trade, and there might be a little tiny link to Philadelphia that could get him to come to the Eagles and add in even another explosive receiver to this wide receiver core. Could Philadelphia be interested? Let's go ahead and take a quick look. Starting with the ESPN article showing you the groundwork here. Listen, Elijah Moore's a great receiver, but they're not using him. And because they're not using him, he wants to go somewhere else. Here's the quote. Okay, New York Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore, frustrated by his lack of involvement in the offense, requested a trade Thursday. A person familiar with the situation confirmed to ESPN. Moore's request, first reported by NFL Network, came on a day in which he was sent home before practice with the team called a personal day. Coach Robert Saleh, in brief comments to reporters on the field, said Moore was excused because of a family issue. Sources say Moore's absence was tied directly with him being upset with his usage, with one source saying he expressed displeasure to members of the organization. It escalated to a point where Saleh and offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel believed it would be best if Moore left the facility for a day to let his emotions and theirs settle down. Finally, the Jets are not considering a trade. A source said the NFL trade deadline is November 1st. And so you read something like this and you go, wow. It is the trade deadline. You can tell it's coming on November 1st. And so players who are tired of their organizations or are tired of their play usage are trying to get out of there. So now's your chance. If you don't get out by November 1st, you're stuck there at least through the end of the 2022 season. So Moore not being utilized as much as he thinks that he should be, wants to go ahead and find a new team. And so where's the connection to Philadelphia, right? Well, we go over here to this Liberty Line article, which I saw yesterday that is really, really fascinating. It talks about A.J. Brown recruiting another receiver to Philadelphia, and obviously the connection the two players had, both playing at Ole Miss. This is by Victor Williams. Does a really great job, as always. You see him on Twitter, and I think he has a show as well. Quote, Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore has officially requested a trade from the New York Jets just 1 year, being selected number 34 overall. After recording 43 receptions, 538 yards, and 5 touchdowns as a rookie, Moore is seemingly frustrated with his usage or lack thereof in offense thus far in 2022. Now, here's the connection, right? Before being drafted, Moore played college football at Ole Miss, same school as A.J. Brown. In fact, A.J. Brown served as Moore's player host during a recruiting visit in 2017. Moore eventually moved into Brown's apartment. The two have formed a bond ever since. And here's your connection. Here's A.J. Brown's Twitter, right? And he says hashtag free Elijah. So he wants Elijah Moore to go ahead and get out of there. And so Victor and a lot of other people on Eagles Twitter are trying to tie Elijah Moore to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let me be very, very clear about where I'm at on this situation. One, would Elijah Moore make the Eagles better? Yes, he would be an upgrade as your number 3 wide receiver. I think Quez Watkins has been underutilized. Not saying Quez is bad, but I think Elijah Moore would add another crazy, scary, yak guy in terms of yards after catch wide receiver in Philadelphia. Do they need him? That's the real question here. Because when you get to the NFL trade deadline, especially for a team like Philadelphia who seemingly has a great roster and doesn't need anybody, you have to really need this position in order for Philadelphia to go ahead and make a move. It's not a luxury situation, right? Especially at wide receiver, where again, you have 4 really good ones. Pascal does his job exceedingly well as a run-blocking wide receiver and a short yardage guy who can get you a catch for 5 yards. Quez is still your burner, even though they haven't used him a lot since the Cardinals game was their last time they had a deep ball. And then, of course, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And so I'm a little bit out on this unless the price was right? If the price was right, you could get Elijah Moore for a fourth or a fifth. I'd do it. I would obviously do it. He's still on a rookie deal. You can go ahead and see what he does the remainder of this year and then make a decision if you want to re-sign him to a long-term contract. Now, that's where it would get tricky in terms of, you got to sign Devontae Smith eventually. You got to sign Jalen Hurts. You got to sign Miles Sanders. There's so many people, James Bradbury, TJ Edwards. A lot of contracts are coming up right now for Philadelphia, and so maybe Philly stays away from Elijah Moore there. But it is interesting that A.J. Brown is already talking about freeing Elijah Moore. Philadelphia been known to be active at the trade deadline. We expect them to be active at the trade deadline next week. Could they go for a, seemingly home run hitter at wide receiver? just to further bolster this pass-catching attack and further deepen their chances at a late run. We'll follow up if anything happens with that one. Okay, quickly, before we go ahead and continue, I know you guys probably noticed this. I talked about it on the show just a couple of days ago. I have an affiliate link with PointsBet. This is crazy right now that we were able to go ahead and get this thing set up. You see it on your screen right now. 2 free bets up to $2,000 whenever you first sign up with PointsBet. It's really simple. If you guys want to go ahead and get started and bet the Phillies tonight, for instance, the Phillies are getting going, use my affiliate link down below in the description box. It would help the channel out, which is fantastic. And it's really cool that a show like mine is already able to have a major partner in terms of an affiliate link with PointsBet. So really appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up. And if you guys want to go ahead and bet on the Phillies, bet on the Eagles, jump in here. All you got to do, use my link, of course, sign up, create an account, be in a legal state. That's important. You need to be in a legal state. And then put your deposit down and then place a bet, a $10 bet, whatever you guys want to do. It really does help out the show, and it's a really, really great opportunity to have some fun and maybe win some money betting on the Philadelphia Phillies or the Eagles or the Sixers, who are 0-2 right now, but they're going to figure it out. It's fine. So want to make you guys aware of that. Really, really cool to have that here on the show. Okay, last night was Thursday Night Football. I watched a little bit of it. Of course, I am on the road, and so I didn't watch all of it. But it does matter for Philadelphia. We talk about the Saints losing all the time because their draft pick is ours in the first round. Let me just quickly show you. I know we've done this, but I want to show you again before we get into the Christian McCaffrey trade here. Look at this. Because the Saints lost, they're 2-5. They're now the 4th overall pick, according to Takeathon.com. And really, the chances of having a top 10 pick for Philadelphia, because we have their first-round draft pick, keep getting higher and higher and higher. And so you root for Carolina, you root for Vegas, you root for Detroit, you root for Houston, right? You root for Seattle and Denver. You root for these teams to win more games and the Saints to lose more games in order to have a higher draft pick. What I want to quickly do, we haven't done here on the show yet, let me just prove to you that this is going to be a top 10 draft pick, because a lot of people commented on a show the other day saying it's not going to be. Look who they play. Raiders, pesky football team. Ravens, who are going to be a playoff team. Steelers, who are starting to hit their stride. Rams, 49ers, Bucks, Falcons, Browns, Eagles, and Panthers. There's not an easy game left on that schedule. The easiest game left is Carolina, the final game of the year. Maybe the Steelers, but you go on the road and they're starting to kind of figure things out, right? This is a really tough schedule for a football team that's had a ton of injuries, cannot seem to get any sort of stops on defense. This is going to be a top 10 draft pick. And we talked about it on my mock draft just the other day. If this is a top 10 pick, if it's a top 5 pick, Philadelphia is going to be sitting very, very, very pretty going into the 2023 NFL Draft. Okay, quickly here, before we go ahead and get to our National League story of the day, the Eagles did not trade for Christian McCaffrey. Should they have? We'll break that down here in just 1 second. I do want to give just a big shout out to you guys. I mean, really, this show is successful because you guys watch it, and I appreciate that every single day. If you guys like it, the thumbs up button is massive for YouTube. They love that. And subscribe as we get closer to 5,000 subs here on the Thomas Mott Show. Okay, late last night, I was falling asleep, and then I was on Twitter and saw this trade happening. The Carolina Panthers have traded Christian McCaffrey to the Bay Area to go ahead and play for Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Here is the compensation. Take note of this. This is crazy. In exchange for McCaffrey, the Panthers will select a 2023, will receive a 2023 NFL second-round pick, a 2023 third round, a 2023 fourth round, and a 2024 fifth round. That is a lot to give up for Christian McCaffrey. A lot to give up for Christian McCaffrey, who is on the hook for a bunch of money throughout the remainder of not only this year, but of course the next couple of years. $690,000 the remainder of this year. And then in 2023, he's owed $12 million, then $12.5, then $1 million for injury in 2025. So this is a lot of money to give up for a player who is really good, but he can't stay healthy. And this is what happens in the National Football League. If you can't stay healthy, you're never going to be able to stay on the football field. And the best ability is availability. This is an all-in move for the 49ers, which is a little bit strange for me because I don't know if the 49ers are really an all-in football team. They're very good defensively. They have weapons offensively, but seemingly they don't have the right quarterback. Whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, they don't seem to have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And so I get the idea of wanting to, really change up their rushing attack because with Elijah Mitchell out and they didn't really have a good running game. But you got to realize that next year, if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, they have no draft picks. Their team is not getting better through the NFL draft, and that's how you get better. They have no first round. They have no second round. They have 2 in the third, 1 in the fifth, and 2 in the seventh. This is a lot to go ahead and give up for a running back who, again, isn't Derrick Henry in his prime. right? This is Christian McCaffrey, who is very, very good when he is healthy, and that's the big key. When? When will he be healthy? Time will tell. I've said before, the Niners are good enough to be a real challenge to Philadelphia in the NFC. I think offensively, they are a little bit lackluster. I think defensively, they have had a bevy of injuries right now, but are still very, very pesky. But overall, I definitely feel like right now, Philadelphia is sitting much, much better than the 49ers. And let me just make this very clear. Very glad they did not trade all of those draft picks for Christian McCaffrey. I would have been very frustrated had you traded all that for Christian McCaffrey. It's just too much. Wait for the NFL trade deadline. We'll talk about that tomorrow, where you could possibly get a Josh Jacobs for way cheaper, and he might be able to stay in the football field a lot longer. All right, there you go. There is the Thomas Mott Show here on a Friday. Again, going to be on the road for a couple of days, so we're going to be the setup you're going to see. We got a lot more going on, especially next week, guys. I'm telling you, something's going to happen. And if something does happen, obviously we'll have a brand new Thomas Mott Show for that, and so thumbs up for me, making sure you guys have all of the latest in the NFL and the and the Philadelphia Eagles as well. For the Thomas Mott Show, I'm Thomas Mott. Out of time. See you guys.